Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Everything has been voluntary until now. Now it's mandatory minicamp week here at the Star in Frisco, and this is a mandatory edition of Mick Shots.
Good that everybody showed up.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, yeah, and showed up early.
Yeah.
Everson was walking down the hall 3 minutes before the
Right
show
on your
started.
tail, baby.
That's
Right on
right.
your tail.
I was in here 10 minutes before.
That's right. And
Hey, be on time.
We're getting you set for mandatory minicamp, which commences tomorrow. There's no football equipment on the football field today here at the Star in Frisco.
I wonder if they'll do some strength and conditioning today.
Well, there's nothing on
Nothing
the
out
field.
there to
Nothing on the
suggest that.
field right now.
So the
because
rehab guys will be out there.
the minicamp starts tomorrow.
That's right.
And apparently, it looks like will be the first to report that the Star in Frisco survived the elements last night.
Did everybody survive?
Yeah, we did. Everybody's fine. I love it.
My show on CBS 11 did not survive.
I would
the show.
imagine.
What happened?
because it was all weather.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
From 9:30
Yeah,
on
don't you hate
last
that,
night.
man?
Actually, we had the Tony Awards until 10 after 10. And I went to the weather people at 7 o'clock. And I said, do I need to put this show together? Because it takes, believe it or not, it takes 3 hours or so to write and produce the whole show. And I'm like, okay. I'm looking at the forecast, and I can see it's going to be bearing down on Dallas-Fort Worth starting at 10 o'clock.
Right.
Is there
See,
any...
the clouds are coming on the radar. You can't miss it.
Right. I mean, there's two systems that are just coming
Right.
from the west.
And they're red and green
And
and
Abilene
yellow
at
and
7
blue.
o'clock just got blown off the map. Now, there's no way people want to hear
Hold up.
how the Rangers
Wait,
did
you
at
saw
10:30.
blue on the map?
Yeah.
What's blue?
Blue was 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
No,
that.
and then...
I've never seen the blue.
Okay, and so the weather, oh no, I can't tell you for sure. We don't know. It hadn't really formed yet.
Yeah, well, it's forming.
So 2.5 hours later, I write the entire show, and it's 9:30 or whatever, and then it's like a never before uttered phrase from the National Weather Service. Potential 100-mile-per-hour winds, and even the competitor Pete Delkus said that. Well, I don't believe I've ever heard him say that before. and we still had to stay till 10:50 last night.
Pete has too good of a time during weather. Okay, that's his problem. He has too good of a time.
I was already counting how many trees that were going to fall in my backyard.
Yeah. Well, and then I was able to get out of there before the next system hit from the west that was blowing Alito off the map. And it was barely a drizzle driving home, and it was no problem.
Well, I saw someone called in and reported that they were, and it's just somebody, right? That we're getting 1 to 2 inches of rain an hour. And I'm going, it hasn't rained here for an hour yet.
So where you live?
Just north of Flower Mound.
In
South Lake.
Oh, so see, those are the white flight areas. White. You know, y'all out there, with nobody is, In Plano, it was just some good rain. We just had a nice rain.
Yeah.
He's like an attorney. He knew the answer to the question
Yeah.
before he asked it.
Just saying.
Just to deliver his life.
You guys are out there where weather has no forgiveness out there, okay? In the city, every time you see the clouds coming and it starts going towards the city, it dissipates just a little bit because there's human life there. There's a lot of life.
That there is something truth to
No
that.
doubt that.
Okay.
You guys
West
out there
Tex-
where there's no interference and
It just blows
it
through.
just
Seriously, in
blows
West
on through.
Texas, I mean, it just blows. That's why
Blows
there's
on
nothing
through.
in West Texas.
That's
Everything's
right.
been blown off the map out there. But it's something about civilization that makes him dissipate.
Just a little bit.
That's right.
Not much, just a little bit, though. You
That's
can
right.
see it as it gets towards the city. It shines a little
starts
brighter.
breaking apart.
So you guys have a good time out
But
there.
I was mainly
Haven.
concerned about hail damage.
We have 56 houses in our
Yeah, no, that's what you were about out there, too, was hail damage.
Hail
That's
damage is
what I
what I
was
was
worried
concerned.
about.
I wanted to
Yeah.
get, and I had it my map. I had it all mapped out. Northeast Mall has a parking garage on the way home. I was going to park there and wait it out in the parking garage. Didn't have to do it. All right. So now enough about what happened last. Enough about last night. Now it's a beautiful day today.
It is for now.
Here at the Star in Frisco.
Yeah, until it starts raining again tomorrow for the minicamp. It'll probably be
Indoors. Well, there's a beautiful Ford Center that they can
right.
go into for the mini.
And I think graduations are done, so that's out of the way. There's no excuse.
I mean, get a load of this. It is now less than 6 weeks away from the Cowboys getting on that big jet plane and flying out to Oxnard, California. Just to put it in perspective, it's 6 weeks' time from this past year, from January 1st until when the Super Bowl was played. It was 6 weeks' time this year. Mm-hmm. And so we're basically we just have a playoff season to get through
there you go. I like that.
before we're starting training camp on July 20th.
So will you be here tomorrow since it's mandatory to take attendance?
I think everyone should be here tomorrow, right?
Take attendance?
Uh-huh. And
Does that mean the two guys that haven't been here will be here?
I know one of them will be.
You do?
I don't know. Okay.
You're going to
but
put money on it?
Yeah.
He said he'd be here.
Well,
Now,
yeah,
how
he said
much
he's
he's
going to
doing?
be here. He's going to be here.
Yeah.
Micah?
Yeah, Micah
Yeah,
said
he
he's never
wouldn't say
missed.
he was going to be here.
He said that he's never missed a mandatory mini.
Well, he was here last week. He just showed up in the locker room when it was everything was done out on the field.
So he may be here, but not to participate.
He was here for media day
Right.
obligation, and then he walked in the locker room when everybody was dismissed.
Well, he missed it.
Oh, he didn't want to be in there with media.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's a veteran, right?
All right, we all understand this. When Mickey talks, he's talking in terms of the media.
Us.
Yeah. And so when he says when everyone was dismissed, that's when the media was
meant the
dismissed
media
from the
was
locker room.
dismissed.
That's when
Okay.
Micah
Then
walked
Micah
in.
walked
You have to
in.
clarify that.
Because I was the
right.
last one of us to.
The important people.
That's right. So we'll see on that one. And then Travon Diggs, I guess he told them he'd be here. We'll
The way
see.
Mickey said that, Mickey
Sounded very pessimistic.
I don't.
Very pessimistic.
The guy had a serious knee surgery, right? Something I've never heard of before. Chondral tissue graft, meaning they took a piece of bone and cartilage and transplanted it into a divot in his knee. So it was explained to me like, you have potholes on the street
Yeah.
and we fill it in with tar. Well, that's what this is,
Okay.
right? And to me, that sounds pretty serious.
Well, hell, you're looking at two of the weirdest injuries from your quarterback and your starting cornerback.
Right?
I've never heard of either one of these injuries or surgeries before.
Well, the quarterback's here,
Yeah, well,
rehabbing.
Yeah, I was merely speaking on the
Yes.
uniqueness
Yes.
of the injuries themselves.
The other guy did it on his own. Mm-hmm. And I also was told a couple of weeks ago, I almost forgot about it, that if he didn't take part in 84% of the offseason workouts, he would have a $500,000 base salary de-escalated.
Wow.
So you tell me, if you had a chance at 500, not to lose 500,000, but you had to show up for off-season workouts.
Now, does that include injuries when you're talking about coming off of surgery? When they put that in, did that include?
No, the rehab, I guess it's stipulated that if you're doing rehab, it had to be under the jurisdiction of the head trainer.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know if that includes monitoring
Right,
from
right.
afar.
Right.
And look, as we all know,
He could just be doing everything on YouTube or whatever, or just sending it to him.
and sending it in.
Yeah.
Well, they
Or
said
he's
they've
being monitored
monitored
live. He
right?
could be monitored live.
Well,
And hey, I'm just devil's advocate here. Yeah.
we'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
And in my mind, if I'm working for you and you tell me I need to do this and I'm not here, I probably get ratted out, right? But if I'm paying you to rehab me and I wake up on Monday morning going, I think I'll take today off. What are you going to say? Yeah, okay, well, you're paying me. I'm not going to create a stink. No, you got to be here.
Right.
So that's the thing that I think you would be concerned about. So we'll see what kind of situation he's in when they get a chance to look at him.
And once again, we're not sure if he's showing up.
Yeah, he said he was.
He said he was going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's mandatory, and they have the right to fine you.
Yeah.
Did you ever get fined for missing a workout?
Yeah.
Yeah? Were you pleased? Or?
Well, no, it just, when it all came down to it, when we renegotiated, it all came out in the wash.
So it had to do with contracts.
Yeah, no big deal.
Same thing as Micah.
Exactly.
Do players hold other guys, like if you see a guy missing and I'm out here working?
I hope not, because I never much participated in off season at all. I tried to stick with the things that made me had me develop through Grambling and on into the league.
But your off seasons were different than these off seasons.
Well, yeah, they weren't mandatory at all.
None of them.
No, none of them mandatory. I don't think you had to work out one bit. I only had 12 workouts out of an eligible 50 or 45. But they offered incentives if you did make them all. I remember Bob Brunick and Ron Springs were going for first place. I think it was 1983, and Ron was upset because they gave the watch. They was going to get this Rolex watch. They gave it to Bob Brunick, and they didn't give it to him. So Ron was favoritism towards Bob Ward and Bob Brunick.
Oh.
So he never let him forget that. Because Ron was a stud, as we know. He was a heck of an athlete, and he believed in working out. And yeah, as far as I was concerned, I think I had 12 my rookie year because I didn't want to go there and start doing all of these. They run quarters. They're doing clean and jerks and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if I could cover with that kind of bulk on me. That was my mindset by not going to camp.
I remember
it worked out okay.
I remember interviewing D.D. Lewis, and I said, I asked him because somehow in the interview it came up about off-season workouts, and I said, so did you work out off-season? He goes, yeah. Man, he goes, I got in that swimming pool and I did 12-ounce curls.
And see, guys like that, they kind of, I felt better about not going because I knew some of the veterans like Didi, and of course now, Didi was going out, I was coming in. I get that. But, it didn't help. It didn't help as far as my motivation was concerned.
And people didn't get hurt as much back then.
They really didn't. That's when off-season was... We would rest in the offseason. I say we, I mean most players. I didn't. I was a little bit, once again, younger at the time. I was still doing a lot of stuff, and that's how I worked out. Tennis, swimming, boxing. I was doing a lot of stuff that keeps you in shape. Right. As far as covering somebody, I just wanted to go out there and cover. I could cover. I don't know about coming up and lifting Bill off the ground or anything, but I could cover Bill. And so that's all that mattered to me.
It's hard to pull a muscle if you don't have a muscle.
Yeah, that is a very good point also. Never really ran track. My body really wasn't that developed, I guess. I think it was a late bloom because all the guys, Ron Fellows, Michael Downs, all of them did the workout. Man, I pulled my hamstring. I never had a pulled hamstring in my life. So, when you run a 4.7, it has its advantages. Let me just say that.
Your body doesn't say, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, I never, I didn't start stretching until I was 29 years old. So, yeah, that was just the way it was.
Do you still stretch?
Oh, I have to stretch now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a stretch freak now. Yeah, you just have to be. Jimmy was here. It was in '89. Bent down to cover somebody in my back. Like, whoa, you haven't stretched all your life. So next thing you know,
it was at age 29.
Age 29.
Okay.
Sure did.
See, the other thing that Diggs should be invested in is he has, for when he re-signed his new deal, each year he has a per game bonus. I think it's 58, right around 58,000 a game. So last year, when he only played 11 games, his bonus was in the 600,000 range. It's worth, if you play every game, $1 million. So there's a good chance this year. I mean, he may not be ready to start the season. But I sure as hell.
And no one's giving us a progress report.
Well, we'll get a better one, I think, this week.
Okay.
But
do you think that they have a progress report?
I think they, in their mind, since they don't know much about him, and if he doesn't stay here, then he's going to start training camp on PUP. You know, just so now we can work with you and see where you're
So
at.
you think they have no idea where he is right now?
I think they have an idea because I
He's
know
been working out in Miami.
they've been in contact with the people that he's working out with, and I heard they respected those people.
Excellent.
So,
excellent. That's good.
but he's got incentives. Like, did you have interception incentives in your contract?
Man, I wish. They knew better.
If he did, he wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Gil ain't
He had so many
stupid. Gil ain't stupid.
Well, here are his. Okay, for 5 interceptions, it's worth $300,000, and if you have 7 interceptions, it's $600,000. It's not cumulative, like you get paid for 5 and 7, but $700,000. I mean, $600,000 for 7 picks.
And what was his penalty for not being here this offseason? $500,000, you said?
Could be de-escalated.
He just makes that up getting
if
intercepted.
he gets the intercept. But you got to play to get him, right? You got to play. Now, the good thing is $9 million base salary is guaranteed.
Now,
That is a good thing.
as you bring that up, though, now we've got another cornerback out there, right, from the Packers.
I was about to bring up Jaiir Alexander is not official yet, but he is reportedly going to be released, which brings us, even without talking about him, when you look at the cornerback roster with this Cowboys team, and you go back through even last year, and we know the injury issues that the cornerbacks have coming into this year. But even going back to last year, Travon played 11 games last year. Deron Bland, 7 games last year. Jaiir Elam, who, of course, came over in the trade from Buffalo, 13 games, 4 starts for Buffalo last year. Kalen Carson, 6 games, 5 starts last year. Josh Butler, coming off his ACL, had 3 starts last year. Andrew Booth, 7 games, 2 starts. Revel played, 4 games last year? 3 games last year at East Carolina. And so there's basically your cornerback inventory right there.
And those are the guys here, and there's guys that aren't here that had starts last year at cornerback. Ouarie.
Yeah, but as
You're
far as
saying the
what they
guys
have here,
yes,
and looking at, who's playing cornerback this season, how healthy is this team, look at recent track history, and is there a need to bring in another cornerback?
And we can point out that Jordan Lewis isn't here this year.
And before the meet and greet that we had last week, I thought we were of the understanding that we probably will need another cornerback. We were talking about Gilmore, who's familiar with the system. But when you have a player like, how you say his name, Jaiir? The
Jaiir Elam.
Out here now. The guy's out
Jaiir Elam.
No, you mean Alexander.
Or Jaiir Alexander.
Jaiir Alexander.
Jaiir and Jaiir.
Jaiir Alexander, the guy's got a pretty good resume overall.
So
but
you talk about an
I said
injury.
overall.
You talk about an injury history.
Yep.
He's got an injury history.
Yes,
He's played 32 games his last 4 years.
14 the last 34
Right.
games. And his base salary this year was going to be $16.15 million.
Yes, it was.
So there was
And that's
incentive.
That's why he did the trade. No trades would happen because
exactly.
nobody wanted to
no
pay
one's
all
gonna
that money.
inherit that,
No doubt.
right?
No doubt.
And so the Packers went to him and tried to say, okay, let's renegotiate.
And he's like, no.
And I'll get that in free agency.
That's right.
Well,
So
it's June 9th.
Yeah.
Teams' salary caps are pretty much usually spoken for.
Interesting.
And especially he's a guy that last year, 7 games, PCL injury. The year before, in 2023, he played 7 games. Now he did play.
He get suspended one game. Do you remember that?
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
He got suspended. So he's from North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they were playing at Carolina. And he basically named himself captain and walked out for the coin toss. And wait. He called tails. I just read it. And he won the toss.
Yeah.
And he said, we're going to play defense. And the referee said, now, are you saying you're deferring? And I guess somebody started yelling, like, no, if we play defense, they get the choice again in the second half.
Right.
And they avoided that, so they suspended him one game for
Wait,
contract.
what do you mean they avoided that? He were able to correct it
yes,
on the field.
They redo. It was a redo. Yeah, it's like no, we want.
He doesn't
the
have.
ball.
He hasn't been given the authority to make the call. He named himself a captain.
Hey, see, we need to bring that guy here. He's fun.
Yeah. I don't know.
We already brought fun guys.
Yeah,
in.
we got some fun guys.
I saw 2 headache guys get arrested this weekend.
Who was that?
Pac-Man Jones and
I didn't see that one. Kelvin Joseph.
Kelvin Joseph got in a fatal car accident here.
I heard about
Well,
that.
Kelvin Joseph, by the way, is playing for the United Football League DC
man, I
Defenders.
heard all of that.
This happened on Friday night.
Yes.
They had a game yesterday, the DC Defenders, and it happened at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they going to the Super Bowl. They're going to.
They're actually, they won their game yesterday, and so now they're playing in the UFL Super Bowl on Saturday night.
Somebody finally
And so,
destroying.
but he's playing and trying to salvage his career, and
they're
he
all
is,
based here, by the way.
Yeah, the whole league is based here throughout the spring. But okay, so he's out at 5 o'clock in the morning. The night before the team is flying to, I think they played in Birmingham. Yeah, and they played in St. Louis. Okay,
Okay.
so
Somebody
Michigan played at Birmingham.
somebody finally beat Birmingham.
Yeah, Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah. By the way,
Yes.
their quarterback, Bryce Perkins, and I just read this morning, he is the nephew of Don Perkins.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Bryce Perkins, quarterback of the Michigan Panthers, played at Arizona State.
No, I remember
From Chandler,
him from
Arizona.
college. Yeah.
And
Where
he went to Arizona State, and I can't remember where he wound up. But anyway, and he was with the Rams. Actually, have started some games with the Rams. Now he's 28 years old, and this year is all UFL quarterback. Keep an eye on him on Saturday night if you got nothing else to do and you watch the
just do
UFL
that.
championship game.
If you need a fourth quarterback on the
I'd just be-
roster,
You know what? I was
Training
sitting there
camp.
looking at with the Cowboys situation with 3 quarterbacks, okay, and the Cowboys' history of plucking players out of either the USFL or the UFL who have become Pro Bowl players.
Yeah.
Maybe they're looking at a quarterback in the UFL to fill out this.
And what better
roster.
story could you provide us?
And Don
That would
Perkins'
be very cool.
nephew.
That would be extremely cool.
Now he's not 24 years old. He's 28 years old.
Oh,
But,
he is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. So
Not bad at all.
kind of a dual threat guy, runs that RPO stuff.
So he's not the nephew I met when I did the Don Perkins interview. And that was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Okay.
That's probably too soon. He had a-
How old was he?
He was, he wasn't, maybe 10.
Oh, yeah. This one, he would have
Yeah.
been in his 20s. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, speaking of
The kid-
throwbacks, can we talk about, well, at least bring up Michael Downs' birthday?
Well, yes, we can.
Michael Downs.
Hey, you know what? We didn't get an invitation. Well, I didn't get one. You might have declined it. It's Cliff Harris's golf tournament today.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cliff Harris and DeMarcus Ware are teaming up
Yeah.
to be able to
Yeah,
see
what a combo.
clips of that
What a
on
combo.
CBS
Well,
11 today.
as Cliff pointed out during his radio interview when he first got there, is they're trying to get younger players because he said too many of my guys can't play anymore.
You recall
Oh,
that
me.
disastrous golf tournament that we had with him. The temperature somehow, and it was earlier in the spring at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Was this the one that was almost 100 degrees?
Yes, it was 100 degrees. And with humidity, you almost fell out. Preston Pearson made me so mad that day. Me and Bubba from Blazing Saddles, we're ready to go. Preston's like, no, we play the 18 holes because that's Preston. The rules are right. And not only that, Preston Pearson takes at least 1 minute to address the ball. and I'm sorry, man, we don't have time for all of that. So I'm fussing. Of course, I'm the young loudmouth in Preston's eyes. Oh, don't worry about it, Everson, don't worry about it. By the time we made it into the clubhouse, after we were done, y'all were on dessert.
We were done eating.
You were done eating. And I was so mad. I left, and I 2 days later, I called Preston to see how he was doing. He said he was just getting out of bed. So he had a torn labrum. All of this was going on. No, damn it, I'm going to finish. And that's Preston for you.
So that's why DeMarcus Ware got asked to help out. Bring in some of the younger guys that can play.
Good stuff.
All right, just getting started on Mick Shots. So much to get you ready for the mandatory minicamp in just a moment.
Happy birthday, Michael Downs.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
The National Medal of Honor Museum is now open in Arlington, Texas, just a few blocks from AT&T Stadium. Immersive exhibits and exciting technology allow you to fly a rescue helicopter mission in Vietnam and have conversations with virtual Medal of Honor recipients. Come be inspired by these incredible stories of ordinary Americans who did the extraordinary. Get your tickets at mohmuseum.org.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cowboys Nation, the 2025 Dallas Cowboys schedule is officially here, and limited tickets are available now. Get ready to bring the noise as you watch your Dallas Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium when they host AFC East rivals Eagles, Giants, Commanders, plus Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, and Cardinals. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official primary ticketing partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, very good. That was flawless from
Well, that's what we're going for today. We're going for flawless.
That's a hell of a home schedule.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, and Cardinals.
So I'm going to make up for lost time.
Okay.
When you were playing, did you ever look at the schedule when it came out and said, "Oh, this is good" or "This is bad"?
I never did. No.
It was just like, "This is."
No, it was all a bitch. Sorry. It was all tough for me. So I couldn't sit up and say, I couldn't be picky with it. To me, it was all tough.
So like that time when we talked about the 6 straight games against playoff teams, that didn't.
No.
Doesn't phase you.
The only time I would.
Well, that was because you guys were, the first part of it, your career, you were playoff teams.
But I always looked at just cities. cities that I'd be visiting.
Like where you're going?
Where I'm going. Like if you say New Orleans, then my boys down New Orleans.
Right.
And of course you think of the stadium itself and all the freaking noise in that stadium. So you do think about the environment of the visiting site that you go to. You do think about that. I know when I go to, RFK, especially if it's a certain time of year, we know the stands are going to be moving, in the end zone. Just things like that just come to your head.
Grass probably wasn't real grass.
Yeah. When they spray green grass on the mud and act as if it's a green field.
I remember Walt Garrison telling me that a couple times when they won there, they got in the locker room and there was no hot water. Mm-hmm. It just happened to be just cold water. He wore his stuff home. He didn't.
Well, we couldn't do that. No, we weren't. They would not allow you to do that. Even you get in there and face it, brother. Get that cold water because you're not getting on this plane smelling like that. I don't think we would let that happen. And also, you would look at San Francisco. It wasn't just the team that you're playing. The field was horrible.
Yeah.
And so
Candlestick.
You know that when you play this game, you're going to have extra long spikes. Those are the kind of things that would really go through my head.
And I didn't mean to talk about this today, but since you brought it up, there was so much focus when the schedule came out last month about that 6-game stretch that started Thanksgiving week. Philadelphia, Kansas City, at Detroit, Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Christmas Day at Washington. But I was just now looking, the first 10 games or so of the season, starting with the Thursday night game at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just to remind everyone what it is. All right, you get to start at Philadelphia. Okay, obviously that's a very difficult opener. But then 10 days later, at home against the Giants, at Chicago, Green Bay at home, at the Jets, at Carolina, home against Washington, at Denver, Arizona, bye week, and at Vegas. You can make some hay during the first half of that season.
Yes, you can.
You better.
You better make some hay. Right?
I mean, but I haven't looked at the other guys' schedule as well. So you say KC's coming in. We've got good teams coming in.
But
what's their schedule looking like
could they have spaced some of that out, though? Mm-hmm. It made it more equitable over.
Well, but you have to compare it with teams. I mean, KC's schedule probably tough as well coming into here at a certain time of year.
Any one of those teams that's in that 6-game stretch from Philadelphia to Kansas City to Detroit, Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Washington, if the same thing happens to any one of those teams that happened to the Cowboys in the 6th game of the year last year, they lose their starting quarterback, those games are totally different then. Right?
I looked up Philadelphia's. I don't know where I've got it.
You saw the schedule.
The schedule. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have any games like that many in a row against
quality teams.
Yeah, playoff teams. Yeah. And so from the Cowboys standpoint, they got to have 4 games against playoff teams in their own division.
Well, here's my thing. I'm sure Philadelphia does have a stretch that's challenging. You didn't see not one.
Off the top of my head, I didn't see anything more challenging than a 3 or 4 game stretch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's already, Elias or whoever came up with the numbers on it, there has never in the history of football been a stretch as difficult as what the Cowboys have from November 23rd to December 25th, meaning never before has a team been scheduled to play 6 straight opponents who had 11 or more wins the year before.
Or 6 opponents that combined was 81-21? Was that the number?
Something like that.
81-21 last year.
Yeah.
Do you think it has anything to do with the Cowboys' marketability and popularity?
I think that there is some of that goes into that because November is a big ratings month, TV-wise, and then leading up to
the holidays.
And I don't know, as far as advertising, if higher rates, I would assume higher rates go into the holiday season from Thanksgiving to Christmas, which is one of the reasons why I always thought that the college football playoff should be starting basically the week after Thanksgiving, because from a TV standpoint,
that's when it's at its height.
Exactly.
Right.
So anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah.
All right. As far as this mini camp, what are you looking for? Outside of what you talked about.
We talked about cornerback.
Outside of,
and by the way, the guy in Miami is probably still on the trade block too. Ramsey.
So he didn't participate. He's not coming to camp.
Oh, he hadn't.
No, he's not coming.
Because he wants more money.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys understand that if it's more money for 1 year, we can kind of grit our teeth and do it. But if it's for more, with the contracts expanding or the base salaries increasing next year, they got to be careful.
I gotta say, if we were to bring him in, God, that would.
He's under contract with another team.
Okay, sorry.
That's right.
Never mind.
Say if they will bring him in.
Zip it.
Zip it.
So other than cornerback, and I want to say the defensive front, but this.
Okay, before leaving cornerback,
yeah,
Jaiir Elam is a guy. You cited him last week. He came in here and said, "Who's this number 20?"
Yeah.
This was after Everson and the other 25 legends that were out here and got to watch the whole day in team meetings and then out at practice. He came in here the next week and said,
the film work. Yeah.
And thanks to you, by the way, I went back and listened to Mike's 57-minute.
Is that what it was?
57-minute dissertation on his day here and what he had to say about everything.
Michael Irvin?
Yes.
Yeah.
By himself.
Yeah.
There's nobody asking him questions. He just started.
He can interview himself.
57 minutes. But you know what?
Oh, man.
He gave me a layup column.
Oh, man.
Well, he gave me a layup score sports show on Sunday night that way. I saw it that afternoon. I said, well, I'm using that on tonight's show.
We talked. I hadn't talked to Mike in a long time, and we finally talked. And I was just asking about the wide receivers, and he feels really good about that. And, Mike is overly optimistic about everything because, he's being with the Cowboys.
But he was not optimistic about them hiring Schottenheimer. He wanted Dion in here, and he was adamant that hiring him is going to be a continuation of more of the same. And he admitted it in his dissertation. And then when he got here and saw what was going on and the things they were doing, did a 180.
Yeah.
Was he invited to go traditional Greek dancing on Friday night?
No, I don't think
Greek
so.
Isles.
Is that what they did?
Grill and
Get out of here.
Yes.
Not the whole team.
No, the quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
Schottenheimer and Steve Shimko, the quarterbacks coach, and Dak and Joe Milton and Will Greer and families were.
That food was good.
But they had I can't remember the name of the dance group there, and they had a big old room and they were doing Greek dancing. It's gone viral.
Were they doing belly dances?
I did not see any belly dancing. Joe Looney was not there.
Okay. But Mike's big, you know what? He went through that whole thing and only once said something about talent. It was all about
energy.
Shoddy's program and the fact that he is so big on competition under pressure. And he said everything he sets up is competition under pressure. He goes, they're not just sitting in there for giggles and shooting free throws. No, he wants to see the guy come up in front of everybody.
Right.
And it's like, you want to lose doing this?
Right.
And then he talked about the position room when he was in with the wide receivers. They would call, he said they called up Mingo and Lamb and gave them the play. And they had to diagram the play and then point out everybody's responsibility on that play. And you better know it, otherwise the guys in the room are going,
They realize that you're not dedicated.
What are you doing? And then the other thing he pointed out is He said he called him up after the first half of the practice and, basically said, hey, good practice, da-da-da. And he said they started the second half and there was a bunch of mistake and he stopped it. Called everybody up and said, you're letting your teammates down. And in Mike's mind, when players hear that, you can tell me differently, he said everybody starts looking around going, well, who's the guy screwing up? It's not me.
Yeah.
And he said, and that's good. It sets so his whole thing was about the environment more than anything else.
And when a coach says something like that, most likely the players know what area or what person they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, it's no secret.
You just don't want it to be
you. Don't want to say, yeah. you don't want to say anything until, sometime later.
Okay, so that was.
And the other thing, on Thursday, I was out here to tape the Blitz TV show, and they were out on the field, and you got music just blaring, and there was but even just observing it, and you can speak to this, there was a crispness about the way they were going about their business, all the position groups and so forth.
Well, I saw the crispness on the film. Mm-hmm. That's before we even got out on the field. And it wasn't just coming from what I was bragging about Dak and Pickens and CD, what page that they were on. The running backs also were looking good out there. Once again, you see not just how good a player is in the secondary, but you see how they're following instructions. And that's what I liked about Jaiir. He was doing it just the way that it was supposed to be done, and he did it with the quickest feet that I've seen in the secondary.
See, that could
so
be
far.
the bonus if they can get something out of a one-year bet they're making on it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing on Jaiir Elam. When you look at his career, this is his fourth year, and he was, of course, a first-round draft pick out of Florida.
I can see why.
23rd overall pick in 2022. All right, his first year in 2022, he played in 13 games, made 6 starts. 477 snaps, had a couple of interceptions. Christian Benford was her 6th-round pick that year, and out of Villanova. And Benford, he had some injury issues that first year, and Elam missed 4 games as well that first year. But then Benford took off. The second year, Elam only played 3 games, 2 starts because he had an injury that year. He had torn ligaments in his right foot. So that's when Benford got a leg up on Elam, and Benford had the opportunity because Elam wasn't on the field. 2 guys came in the same year out of the draft, and Benford took off. He just took the opportunity and ran with it. Good for him. Mm-hmm. Well, Elam only played 3 games out of 17 that year because he had torn ligaments in his foot. So now he comes back last year, and 13 games, 4 starts, had a shoulder injury that he dealt with a little bit, but it was already they had your starters lined up here because Benford took advantage of his opportunity the year before. So I think what the Cowboys scouts have seen in looking at Elam and understanding the injury issue that he had in his second year in the league, that this isn't a guy that, he's 28, 29 years old and has had an opportunity and failed. There's been some circumstances that have occurred, and now, he's young. He's, and so he just turned 24 last month.
Mm-hmm. And I just saw, like I said, what I saw on the field, there was one play where he was concentrating on the wide receiver in a type of zone matchup defense, and the 2 receiver came out and did a wheel route, and he didn't see it at first, but when he saw it, his reaction was so quick that it negated the wheel route altogether. Mm-hmm. The receiver couldn't even get down the field because he was not prepared for Elam to recognize it so quickly after making the adjustment. And he totally got in the guy's way, which is what you're supposed to do by preventing him from getting down the field. And when we saw that, the coach had to run it back, and they go, whoa, look at this guy, because he saw it last minute, and when he made the move, it was extremely quick.
So
extremely quick.
He's getting the opportunity now because when they go out there with what looks like their first-team defense, he's at left cornerback.
Yes, he is.
And he's been there the whole time we get to see the OTAs. And the day we got to watch last week, it was Tuesday, Dak threw a deep route to Pickens. and he was there to break it up.
Yeah.
And so he was running with Pickens.
And Pickens and CD, they're not out there trying to be cute.
Oh, no.
They are out there balling.
Yeah.
They are bringing it with all the speed, coming across the middle. Of course, we know this is practice, and they're not going to worry about too much contact. But to have that kind of aggression this time of year, I don't care if you got pads on or not. That's the kind of timing that you want to see from your offense.
Right.
You don't have time. It wouldn't be good for you to go at a pace that's not true. They're going at a true pace, a game pace on both sides without the contact.
And the other guy that I felt is following in those footsteps that I've seen so far is Javonte Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say I've seen him play last year or the year before when he tore his ACL, but he had a good rookie year in Denver. And it looks like, and you know how they make them run through, and they know they're not going to get hit.
Yeah, of course, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Right?
But
he hits the hole, and if he has to run 80 yards, no one's running with him. I don't know that the DB has to chase him all that way.
Yeah, they want him to chase him and knock the ball out.
Because the running back has to go, and he's a lot faster than I envisioned.
They were taught to defensively, DBs, they have to finish the play. They chase them all the way to the end zone if you have to, but see if you can make the play. Because some of the running backs, they get lackadaisical thinking they got it made, and then here comes Jaiir, came up one time, knocked it out of the dude's hand just before he scored. So these are the kind of things. Let me say this, and I know we got a little time to deal with. When you start talking about injuries happen when you're not prepared for something. The better understanding you have of the game itself, it's like driving. You can anticipate things that can happen before they do. That could help you prevent a lot of injuries if you don't take any missteps based on that not being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they're coaching these guys, they're letting them know pre-snap recognition is going to help you a lot in this situation. So that pre-snap recognition is going to help you understand what the offense is trying to do. If you understand what they're trying to do, then maybe you'll be more prepared physically for whatever's about to happen in the upcoming play. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's how injuries happen when you're not prepared and your mind is somewhere else, and then you try to make a move that your body wasn't ready for. That's why guys, myself, Michael Downs, we just didn't get hurt that much because of the, what can happen. There's only so many things can happen in a particular play. And not just the play, but even down the field, there's only so many things that happen when you go for the ball. And I don't think that these players are always ready for that because it happens so quickly.
Like if you're on Sam Rayburn driving 70 miles an hour and you're looking ahead and you're going, I think that guy wants to change lanes, right?
There you go.
You can tell, right?
The same with football. It's the same with sports.
It's like Dre Greenlaw when he tore his Achilles coming off the sideline.
Exactly.
It was sudden change.
Now that was different. that is totally different. Like, whoa, what just happened? I don't know what to compare that to. I'm sorry. I can't even compare that to anything.
Or guys in the playoffs in basketball, and they got a fast break by themselves, and they're not assuming that somebody might be trailing me from behind.
And you get startled.
Yeah.
Misstep. You never know.
All right. And by the way, on the running back situation, Nick Chubb signing with the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
So, all right, we continue with more Mick Shots. One final segment for the offseason when we come back.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
The National Medal of Honor Museum is now open in Arlington, Texas, just a few blocks from AT&T Stadium. Immersive exhibits and exciting technology allow you to fly a rescue helicopter mission in Vietnam and have conversations with virtual Medal of Honor recipients. Come be inspired by these incredible stories of ordinary Americans who did the extraordinary. Get your tickets at mohmuseum.org.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Back to Mick Shots.
This summer, step onto the field with the Dallas Cowboys youth football and dance camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes of all skill levels, age 6 to 16, are invited to learn something from former NFL players and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Campers have a chance to learn technical skills and lessons on teamwork. Visit dallascowboys.com/camps to learn more.
All right, one final segment for the 2025 offseason, not only getting you ready for the mandatory minicamp, but also for training camp, which starts on July 20th in Oxnard, California.
You going to be there?
Yes.
All right.
I'll be there.
All camp?
No, not the entire camp, and hadn't been totally approved how long I'm going to be there for, but I'm confident that I will be there
at least
a good amount of time.
Week or two, right?
Uh-huh.
Good.
Yep. You'll be there?
I'll be there.
Okay.
Where's it going to be?
So, by the way, before we get going, I just saw a commercial. Patrick Mahomes was in it. He and his wife are in a suite in in Oklahoma City watching the women's softball title games.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, how does he go to things like that and no one notices who he is? Like, you got to get
I think they noticed who he was. I know because
Does he travel without security?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife went to Tech, and so this weekend, her brother-in-law, who actually, Billy Breedlove, is a vice chancellor at Tech.
Oh, excuse me.
And so we had our cousins camp weekend, and so the whole Lubbock crew was there.
Watching.
And so we watched a lot of softball.
And he's not just there; he's there cheering, like they caught him on his feet, waving. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. And he got him.
Who's he going to see? Anybody?
Oklahoma. I mean,
Texas Tech. Tech and Texas were playing in the College World Series.
Yes, of course.
Women's College World Series National Championship Series.
Number 10 with the Grand Slam.
He got
the number 10 with the Grand Slam. That was she's a stud. She's a stud for Texas.
He also bought gear for all the players on the team, like jackets. Mm-hmm. And other stuff.
Nice.
I think he's an Adidas guy.
Oh, okay.
He is, and that's probably why the whole school is that.
Yeah, right. It's definitely
I think
why.
He's
and
a
by the
huge
way,
donor with
the pitcher Nija Kennedy,
who
is at Stanford, and they paid her
NIL.
over $1 million for this year, and on game day, on the day of the last game, which did not go well for her. They announced the contract extension for her for next year as well.
My God, she's coming back.
I'm not sure that it's all. Tech has a huge donor, Cody Campbell, who sold his oil company for $4 billion. And that's why Tech's got the number one ranked transfer portal in football. But I think Patrick may have donated a little bit to the softball pitcher as well. So he's got a vested interest in this.
They wear those poor pitchers out.
That's why
day they pitch.
Okay. We're not going to talk a lot about this. But, of course, my alma mater, Oklahoma, won the last 4.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. I can't get into softball. And and my sisters, they're texting about whatever happens in the games, and I'm not watching it. I don't care.
Why not? I don't understand why not.
Because and that's one of the reasons.
I'm not saying you should,
but
follow it.
But it's amazing how people go to these schools, and my wife, she admits. She didn't know Tech had a softball team until last week. And then she's like watching it, and she's nervous as can be that we got to win this game. It's this school pride that builds up. Yeah. That's just amazing.
Well, you should know about that, OU. You should know about that.
But the reason I don't get into softball is the pitcher situation.
Okay.
You can, because they throw underhanded, it's no stress on your shoulder, they can pitch every game.
Yeah.
And so it's okay if you got the great pitcher, then you're going to win the game, typically. So,
although
typically
they are hitting better than they used to.
Yeah. And the mound's only.
Have you guys seen the, I guess, interview that Patrick Mahomes' wife delivered to Patrick, and they were talking about the things that he likes.
No.
And the kind of food that he eats and things of that nature. So she was asking him questions. I think he was asking her questions.
He was interviewing
to
her.
see if she knew about him.
Okay.
And she
it's like a newlywed game.
Kind of. So she asked.
Which no one knows what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. We forget how old we are.
No.
She asked him, he asked her, what's my favorite food? And it was just so funny, especially in the black community. She goes, fried chicken. He goes, no, it's not. I thought that was so funny. She thinks her husband's favorite food is fried chicken. You don't know your husband's favorite food. And it sounded just so weird because of the way she said it. And, of course, he, was pretty bland about it. No, fried chicken is not my favorite food. I just thought I'd bring that up and make it an uncomfortable moment.
Did he say what his favorite food is?
It didn't matter.
Oh.
The fact that she got it wrong and the way she said it, it just sounded so.
Well, I guarantee you, if Patrick Mahomes, knowing my wife and her family and all the Texas Tech people, if he said whatever his favorite food is, that's their favorite food. That's what Patrick Mahomes means to the Texas Tech people.
Or they were going to go out and buy some.
That's right. All right. You got more things on your legal pad?
Well, I was going to say when we were going to what else to watch for during the mini camp, and I'd love to say the defensive front, but it's playing patty cake up there, so you really can't tell. You can tell what the coaches think of them by how they line them up, but other than that, you can't tell.
Okay, let's fast. This show is going to have a lot of shelf life here for the next 6 weeks. So, what are you looking for in training camp?
Well, right there.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
They're not playing patty cake.
Well, we got to wait 4 days before we find out. But can Mozzie Smith take the next step? Because he's got to take the next step.
You spoke of the salaries and the cap is already hit on most teams. So what's the chances that we get a bigger player up front on defensive line?
You probably have to wait until
training camp.
The cuts come, like August. I think I just wrote it down. They got to be at 93 on August 26th.
So you would take someone from the first cut?
Well, see if
that's
somebody
the thing, you don't want to take a.
What was the big guy they brought? Was it last year? Was it Watkins or was that the year?
Carlos Watkins was one of them,
and the year before,
Linville Joseph was in here. Jonathan Hankins the year before.
Jonathan Hankins, because he's the one that went to Seattle. He came. Right? They wanted to re-sign him, and Seattle. They offered him the same amount of money, but he went to Seattle because his defensive line coach is the defensive coordinator there.
But if you bring up those guys' names, they didn't do much for us.
Well,
and remember, they were bringing in nose tackles left and right, veteran guys from Jordan Phillips to Albert Huggins, and during training camp
Jordan
last year.
Phillips didn't want to play football.
Maybe he goes to Buffalo,
and then he goes to Buffalo,
and he's wanted to play football again.
Yeah. So that. Also, if Guyton is taking the next step at left tackle. But again, we can't see that until they put the pads on. So I think that's
has anyone talked about his progress? Has anyone talked about his work
Schottenheimer
ethic at this point?
Praised him for his work in the offseason and saying, and he went to point out that he hadn't played much left tackle in his college career.
You think someone like Nate could help him? Nate Newton?
Well, Tyron has helped him a little bit.
Tyron's,
yeah.
Who looks good, by the way.
When I saw him, so he's like at the end over there at the end of the field, right?
Yeah.
And I saw this guy standing there, and I go, "Is that DeMarcus Ware?" Mm-hmm. And then he came jogging with his son, and it's like, that's Tyron.
Yeah, man.
Oh my Lord.
Look good.
Yeah.
So he's helping him.
I believe so.
There was a report that he talked to him once, and so there's a report.
Yeah, he's helping.
Tyron ain't doing much talking. So.
Yeah. The most we ever heard him talk.
Probably he was out at practice, and someone saw them talking to each other or whatever, and so he's working with him.
Oh, that's.
Okay. The other position I think is going to be interesting is wide receiver. Because, they're top three. If you got Pickens, Lamb, and Tolbert, that's the way they've been going. The next three have been
Turpin's fourth, right?
Turpin was, yes, Turpin, Flournoy, and Mingo.
Flournoy.
I can't get out of saying
Flournoy.
Flournoy. Those three are the second line.
So it was Turpin, Flournoy, and Mingo.
Right.
Okay.
Flournoy, Mingo, Turpin.
Why'd you do this,
slot.
Bill?
I don't know why.
Yeah, you trying to?
I don't know. I don't know what I was doing.
I thought you were trying to say something. I don't know what you were trying to say.
And so that then leaves Paris Campbell, who's kind of a veteran at least. Jalen Brooks, who made the team last year.
Mm-hmm.
Cropper it looks like he's had another good offseason. He's had a good training camp, and he gets in the preseason games and disappears.
If we can get Ferguson healthy, I guess he's healthy. I hadn't heard.
Yes, he is.
And get that same attitude back that he had 2 years ago. And if we can get the young running back Blue and work with him, I mean, really work with him and get his confidence up, let him know that he could be the man around here. And if not the man, he could be extremely important on passing downs, second and long, third downs. We may not
pair them with Lipke.
Anyway.
Stop with the Lipke.
Anyway, first of all, Lipke's going to get off this year, okay? He's going to be able to have his little packages. I do believe that.
Right.
I do believe that. But
he's Kyle Juszczyk.
I would just like for us to not worry about a third wide receiver necessarily. I think that we can really confuse people with a running back like Blue in the slot.
And a tight end.
And the tight end. 2 tight ends even in the slot.
See, and everybody forgets Tolbert led the team in touchdowns last year.
Mm-hmm.
With 7.
7.
And I'm still not impressed. I got to see more from him.
Right.
I have to see more from him in regards to getting off the line of scrimmage. I get it. He scored 7 touchdowns, but I need to see someone that's going to help me move the chains when my quarterback is in trouble, and I need you to beat that man off the line of scrimmage inside right now. And I don't want any excuses. That's the kind of guy I want to see.
Well, they're doing it now, but I guarantee you there's going to be a Turpin package out of the slot.
And there you go.
Right.
That's fine as well. But in regards to having to disguise, if you bring out a running situation, running personnel, you can easily change that running personnel into passing personnel.
And then the other thing is the backup quarterback position. Those guys have got to prove that you can count on them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know with the lack of experience that's going to play out.
From either one of the guys.
Now,
so
I was the practice we watched on Tuesday, Milton, I was impressed because he was seeing the anticipating the receiver that was coming open, right, and throwing the ball very accurately, and then he missed the linebacker dropping into coverage, and Damone Clark picked him off. So I was sitting there until that point. I said, okay, I understand what everybody thinks about his arm. Now he's got to understand where to throw the ball.
There you go.
And then he got picked off.
And it happens. I mean, these guys, they
Yeah,
paid
yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's a
And,
good player, Damone Clark.
You know, if you have 36 touchdown passes, you're probably going to have 10 to 12 interceptions. It just happens.
Okay, we're past time. We're in overtime now.
OT.
Okay.
Way past.
Yep. So enjoy your mandatory minicamp, and we'll see you in Oxnard.
Gentlemen, welcome to overtime.
No, I think you guys should be there to watch minicamp. Come on.
But we'll see everyone else in Oxnard because we're done with the Mick Shots for the off season.
Yes, this is the last one.
Okay.
It's pretty sad.
It is. All right. Enjoy your vacation too.
And I plan on, using some time there.
I'm taking a few vacations.
Yes.
All right. And so we will.
And you too.
Yes, I'm looking
Since
forward.
you got all this help at CBS 11.
And since we got all our teams out of the playoffs, we can now take vacation. All right.
Come on, Rangers.
Well, that's.
He just said we got all the teams out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you haven't been watching them lately.
I have. That was sarcasm.
Hey, they're starting to hit.
Yeah, it's about time. Jeez.
All right, so that does it.
They need to score some runs.
Of course.
Yes. All right, Producer Supreme, we appreciate you as always.
Yes, Chris, thanks.
And we'll see you in Oxnard for the next edition of Mick Shots.
Oh, Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?